This training will cover how to enter time worked and leave taken into your electronic timesheet using the Employee Self-Service Portal. Our first step is to log in. To access the Employee Self-Service Portal directly, you can use a web address. For UNT Denton, Dallas, and System, use my.unt.edu. The Health Science Center will use my.hsc.unt.edu. For the purposes of this training, I will be using the my.unt.edu portal, but the steps and the links are the same with HSC. Sign in using your EUID and password, and select the Human Resources tab. Then you will click on My Timesheet under Time and Labor. You will be asked to choose a record if you have more than one active job. If you are unsure which to choose, please contact your supervisor or your timekeeper. But if you only have one active job, the previous page will be skipped and you will go directly into your timesheet. The timesheet will open up to the current week, but you can navigate and view the timesheet in different ways. You can use the previous and next week navigation links to move through the timesheet. These links are controlled by the View By setting. Notice if you were to view by day, the links turn into previous and next day. You can also change the dates in View By settings. When you change the date, you must click refresh, but if you change a View By setting, it will automatically refresh. Notice if you choose to view by day or by week, it will begin on whatever date is entered into the date box. In the View By Time Period setting, the timesheet will know if you are monthly or semi-monthly. If time period is chosen, it will revert back to the first day of the pay period that date is in. The timesheet will automatically populate with 3 lines, but you can add lines as needed. Each line can only have one TRC or time reporting code. If you are unsure which code to use, reference the salaried TRC key or ask your supervisor. Do not use codes beginning with X. These are system codes and you will not be allowed to submit the time with the next code entered. Just like in your paper timesheet, you will enter each day of physical hours worked or reg time. You will also record any leave taken. You can have multiple types of leave and working hours in one day. Just remember that each line needs its own TRC. You can add as many lines as needed to record all leave and all working hours. When you are done entering hours, you will click Submit and a confirmation page will ask you to click OK. You will notice that in the total column, your hours per TRC have been added together. And in reported hours, you will see the total amount of hours submitted. Below the timesheet, you will also see an area called Reported Time Status. After hours are submitted, the status will read as needs approval until your manager approves each day of reported time. You can see here that my manager has approved time and the status has gone from needs approval to approved. You can also check the hours entered per day by clicking on Reported Hours Summary. Until your manager has approved time, you can modify your electronic timesheet. In this example, I chose to use comp time instead of vacation, so I deleted the vacation line and added the hours to the comp time line. Make sure to submit your time after making any changes. A good rule of thumb is to check your hours under Reported Hours Status to make sure everything's submitted correctly. You cannot delete approved time. There are no exceptions to this rule. If time is entered incorrectly or must be changed, you will add a line and enter a negative amount which your manager will approve. In this example, I am changing approved vacation time to regular time. Notice that the time I have modified needs approval. You have the option of inserting comments that you and the manager can view at any time. Please be cautious to exclude any personal information since this information can be made public. We recommend including a comment when you work outside your normal working hours or for any abnormal situations. If you have exhausted all leave and you are not working, you must be docked pay. You will enter the amount of hours to be docked in an override rate, which is your hourly rate of pay. Please ask your manager or timekeeper if you are unsure what your rate is. You can check your leave balances here. When you submit leave, your balances will instantly update even though it has not been approved. You can see that the sick leave started at 138.5, and after 8 hours were entered and submitted, it has been updated to 130.5. Since comp time balances solely depend on the amount of hours worked or time taken, comp time balances will not update until the day after your manager has approved time. Now that you know how to enter time, let's go over some general information. For holidays, leave that date blank in the timesheet. EIS is programmed to know which days are holidays, and you will receive an amount of holiday hours in accordance with your employment status percentage. If you accidentally enter time on a holiday, the timesheet will give you a warning. This is not an error message, just a warning. Click OK to submit. If you work on a holiday, a special TRC is required. You will use HWK for hours worked up to the amount of the total holiday. Any hours over the amount of the holiday will be entered as reg time. HWK will be calculated as automatic comp 1.0. You do not have to enter a special code to earn comp time. Simply enter the total amount of physical hours worked and the system will calculate the amount of overtime. The system must calculate the amount of earned comp time before it will allow you to use it. Remember that comp 1.5 time will never lapse, but comp 1.0 time will lapse 1 year from the date it is earned if it is not used. Leave taken will be deducted from the timesheet balances immediately, but comp time must wait to be approved by the manager. The portal sites MyUNT and MyHSC will update the day after your manager has approved leave or overtime earned and taken. Our work week starts at midnight Sunday and runs to 11:59 p.m. on Saturday. You must work or use leave to account for a full 40-hour work week or less depending on your FTE. Do not enter zeros on the days that are not worked. According to UNT and UNT System policy, all TRS non-exempt and exempt staff members must report all time worked. UNT Dallas and UNT Health Science Center exempt employees are not required to submit working hours, although it is strongly recommended. Everyone must complete and keep records of all leave taken. ORP eligible exempt employees only need to report leave taken or time worked on a holiday. This training has given you guidelines, but it is your responsibility to know and understand the policies related to leave and overtime. You can find the policies at these web addresses. If you have any questions over the material we have covered, feel free to contact the Business Service Center Payroll Office.